The day my best friend asked me why I was sitting alone under the old school banyan tree, the whole world seemed to stop breathing. The sun was shining brightly, children were laughing in the playground, and the afternoon breeze carried the smell of dust, warm concrete, and fresh grass, but inside me, everything was cold. I looked at her face, the same face that once knew every secret I had, every fear I hid, every dream I whispered before sleep. She tilted her head gently and asked again why I was alone, and for one painful second, the truth rose in my throat like fire. I almost said, because of you. If you believe in kindness, forgiveness, and second chances, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to Silent Dad Stories. Your support helps stories like this reach hearts that may need them most. My name is Xavier, and before that afternoon, I thought loneliness was something that happened when people left. I did not know it could also happen when someone stayed close enough to smile at you, but far enough to make you feel invisible. My best friend's name was Maricel. We had grown up in the same narrow street where laundry hung like flags between houses, where mothers called children home before lunch, and where every day felt simple because we had each other. We walked to school together beneath the morning sun, shared one umbrella during sudden rain, and divided snacks so naturally that even our teachers stopped asking whose lunchbox was whose. To everyone else, we were inseparable. To me, she was the person who made the world less frightening. But things changed in 8th grade, slowly at first, like a crack spreading through glass. Maricel became popular after winning a speech competition at school. Suddenly, girls who had never spoken to us began saving seats for her. Boys laughed louder at her jokes. Teachers praised her confidence, her charm, her bright future. I was proud of her, truly proud, but pride can feel lonely when the person you are cheering for stops looking back. She started walking ahead of me instead of beside me. She joined new lunch tables where there was no space for my quietness. When I waited near the gate after school, she often forgot and went home with others. Every small thing felt foolish to complain about, so I swallowed it. I told myself friends grow, people change, and I should not be selfish. Then came the science fair, the day everything broke. Maricel and I had worked for weeks on a model of a solar-powered irrigation system. We stayed after school, burned our fingers with glue, argued over cardboard measurements, and laughed when our tiny water pump finally worked. The project was ours, built from 2 minds and 4 tired hands. But on presentation day, when the principal announced the winners, Maricel stood on stage with her new group, holding the certificate. My name was not called. My part was not mentioned. I stood at the back of the hall while everyone clapped, and she looked at me only once. Her eyes flickered with guilt, then turned away. That moment did not simply hurt me, it erased me. After that, school became a place I endured. I sat alone during lunch beneath the banyan tree because the cafeteria felt too loud and too cruel. I stopped raising my hand in class. I stopped telling jokes. At home, my father, Mr. Ruin, noticed the silence in me before anyone else did. He was a gentleman with tired eyes, a tailor who measured fabric all day and measured my sadness every evening without saying too much. He would place tea beside my books and ask about my day, and I would say it was fine. But fathers sometimes hear what children do not say. One bright Saturday morning, he took me to his shop instead of letting me hide in my room. Sunlight poured through the windows, turning the floating dust golden. He showed me an old coat a customer had abandoned years ago, torn at the shoulder, stained at the sleeve, forgotten on a wooden hanger. He said some things look ruined only because no one has cared enough to repair them carefully. I did not understand then that he was talking about me, and maybe about friendship too. Days passed. Maricel continued shining, but I began to fade less. My father taught me how to stitch straight lines, how to repair loose seams, how to be patient with broken things. At school, a quiet classmate named Ivan started sitting near the banyan tree, not too close, just close enough to show I was not invisible. He never forced conversation. He simply opened his lunch, shared roasted chickpeas, and let silence become less heavy. Slowly, I remembered that being alone was different from being worthless. The truth came out during the final term assembly. Our science teacher, Miss Verena, announced that the district fair committee had reviewed project notes and discovered my sketches, calculations, and planning pages inside the submitted folder. She called my name in front of everyone and said my contribution had been overlooked. The hall became painfully quiet. Maricel's face turned pale. I did not feel victorious. I felt exposed, like someone had opened a wound in public and asked everyone to admire the blood. After assembly, whispers followed us through the corridors. Some blamed her. Some pitied me. Neither felt good. That afternoon, beneath the same banyan tree, Maricel came to me. It was daytime, hot and bright, the kind of day when shadows are sharp and there is nowhere to hide. She stood there holding the certificate we had never shared properly. Her voice was small when she asked why I was alone. I wanted to hurt her with the truth. I wanted to say because you left me, because you took what we built, because you made me feel like a background character in my own life. But then I saw something I had not seen in months. I saw fear. Not fear of punishment, but fear that she had become someone she never meant to be. So I told her the truth, but softly. I said loneliness began when she stopped choosing me in small moments. I said the certificate hurt, but the forgetting hurt more. I said I did not hate her, but I no longer knew how to trust her. Maricel cried without covering her face. She admitted she had wanted so badly to belong that she let others rewrite the story of our project. She said every clap on stage felt heavy because she knew my name belonged beside hers. She had wanted to apologize sooner, but shame made her cowardly. For the first time in months, she sounded like my friend again, not the bright stranger everyone admired. Forgiveness did not happen like sunrise in movies. It happened slowly, like stitching. One careful thread, then another. Maricel returned the certificate to Miss Verena and asked for a corrected one with both our names. She stood before our class and told them the truth, her voice shaking but clear. Some people respected her for it, and some laughed behind her back, but she accepted both. At lunch, she came to the banyan tree, not expecting her old place back, only hoping to earn it. Ivan stayed too. At first, the silence between us was awkward. Then one day Maricel brought the same tamarind candy we used to share as children, and I laughed before I could stop myself. That laugh did not erase the pain, but it opened a window. Months later, our project won a small community award, not because it was perfect, but because our story had become part of it. We presented it together in the courtyard of a local school under a clear morning sky. Maricel spoke first, then handed the microphone to me without hesitation. My hands trembled, but my father stood in the crowd wearing his best pressed shirt, smiling like I had already won. I spoke about sunlight, water, and small machines that help dry soil bloom again. But inside, I was speaking about people too. I was speaking about how hearts can dry out when neglected, and how kindness, honesty, and courage can bring them back. By the end of that year, Maricel and I were not the same friends we had been before. We were something more honest. We no longer believed friendship meant never hurting each other. We learned it meant noticing when you had, apologizing without excuses, and giving the other person time to heal. I also learned that losing one person's attention does not mean losing your worth. Sometimes the season that makes you feel abandoned is the same season that teaches you to stand in your own light. If this story touched your heart, please like the video, leave a comment, share it with someone who needs hope, and subscribe to Silent Dad Stories. Your one small action can help this message reach someone sitting alone, waiting to feel seen. Special request: comment I believe in second chances if you have ever forgiven someone, or hoped someone would forgive you. Years later, whenever I pass a banyan tree in daylight, I remember that afternoon. I remember the question, the pain, and the answer I almost gave. I am grateful I did not say it in anger, because anger would have ended the story there. Instead, truth opened a door. Maricel did not fix everything in one day, and neither did I. But we both learned that friendship is not proven when everything is easy. It is proven when pride falls, when apologies cost something, and when two people choose to rebuild with honest hands. And sometimes, the person who made you feel alone can also become the person who teaches you that no wound is beyond healing, if love is brave enough to tell the truth.